Now, before we dig any deeper into how to exploit and discover vulnerabilities, I'd like to pause and just go back for a second and see what exactly happens when a user clicks on a certain link. So let's say you're browsing a website and you click on any link on that website. What happens? So we have the client side. So this is the computer with the HTML website that is displayed to the user. So this is all loaded on your computer on the client. And then we have the server, which contains the code that gets executed if the website is functional and if it uses code. So when you click on a link, the HTML website or the client side part of the page of the website will generate a request. So it won't actually do any computations most of the time. Now, sometimes there is client side code, and we'll see that, but usually the client side code will generate a request which is sent to the website, to the web server. At the web server, you'll have some functional code such as PHP or Python, Ruby, any programming language. And that's most of the time that code interacts with the database, gets some sort of information, and then send the information as a response to the website, to the browser, and the browser will display it as HTML. So the code, the functional code or the computation code is usually stored at the server side. And the way that most of these websites work is they generate a request, they send it to the server executes the request and send it back. So when we're trying to hack into websites and exploit them, we usually play with the request sent and try to modify that request so that it performs some actions that would help us to gain information or run some certain type of code that will give us reverse connection. Now there's two types of requests. There is GET requests and POST requests. Let's have an example. So if we go here on the file inclusion, you'll see that we have a variable called page, and the value of that is include.php. So right here, this is a GET request because we can see the values of it in the URL. So we can see that page equals include.php. So this page is requesting another page to include another page called index.php. Now we won't go into detail of what that means. All we're concerned about is to have an example, and this is the example. So this is the variable that we're given a value for, which is page, and we're giving it a value of include.php. So that's a GET request. An example of a POST request is the file upload. So if we go to the file upload, when you upload something in here, so let me just upload something. You'll see that the URL doesn't get modified, but the request is sent. So the image is actually uploaded on the server and all that, but the URL still looks the same. But the website did send information. So the HTML website did send information to the server. You just didn't see the information in here because it was sent as POST instead of GET. So the first problem now is we can't see the POST requests. We can't modify them because they're not shown here in the URL. In the case of GET, we can modify them straight away from the URL. Another problem is a lot of these websites in the future, they're going to be using security and they're going to be using client-side code. So if that's used, then the request is actually modified before it gets sent. So there will be filters and stuff working on the client side that will modify our code before we send it. So the best way of intercepting requests and so that we can see the POST requests, we're going to use a proxy.